This is one I'm really excited about. So some of you know I'm from the state of Michigan and have some views on things about it. And it is always nice to see Michigan being the leaders and best at different things, including the leaders at best at being the very first state to implement passkeys and actually enable passwordless sign-in for their citizen services portal. So I'm really happy that Nathan was able to come down from Michigan to tell us about it, and I'll hand things over to him. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me at the late day event. But my name is Nathan Ebig. I am the State Administrative Manager for DTMB. We fall under Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Protection. What that means is I'm a product manager and a service manager, and with government we tend to do more with less all the time. So what I'd like to present today is everything that we went through 2 years ago to start the journey of implementing Passkey. We call it passwordless, into our public realm for Michigan. But even after, and I gotta say, my first time here at Authenticate, these last 2 days, I have to go back and add a whole bunch more to our product line of how we can improve upon this already awesome service. So here's our things I want to talk about today. DTMB, cybersecurity overview, just kind of like what is the IT department for the state of Michigan, what's it like. I want to go over MiLogin, which is my product. Path to path keys, how we got there, how we planned, what inspirations we took. Implementation details of what it took to get there. And then as a good Scrum team does, we're going to have a project retrospective at the end. So if you think there's a lot of acronyms in technology, I would introduce you to government. We have many acronyms. DTMB stands for the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget. So they took all the other departments and they combined them into one. So DTMB is responsible for everything on here. They play a crucial role in cybersecurity for the state, providing resources and tools to protect against cyber threats and manage the state's IT infrastructure. And one of the DTMB's efforts is MiLogin, their digital identity solution. And it enables 13 million users to access state government services securely and conveniently. So we're looking to secure MiLogin's Michigan applications and allow users to access multiple state applications and services with a single user ID. Strong authentication that provides user experience, and decided to go with passkeys based on FIDO. Here's an overview for Michigan cybersecurity. It has kind of 4 pillars to it. One is the physical security, so it's cameras, doors, tap keys to get through security locks. We also have a risk compliance and delivery model as well. The whole branch of cybersecurity goes through our system security plans, make sure you have all your questions answered, are you fit to go live, basically. As well as my area, enterprise identity. So we are also under cybersecurity, which again, after the day or two here, I found that that's a good thing that you put identity under cybersecurity. And then obviously we have Security Operations Center, which is the 4th pillar. So to talk about my product, MiLogin, we like to put MI in front of all of our things, so it's my this and my that, MiLogin. So it's our state of Michigan's digital identity solution. Again, 13 million users. We added FIDO last year in June, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers up here, but the bottom section is probably more relevant to this. So we have 360 applications currently integrated with MiLogin that provides single sign-on to all of those. Now I'm cheating because 360 applications is what we have for everybody across all of our user types. We have about 32 in the public realm, so there's 32 applications that can use FIDO to log in today. There's 18 agencies at the state as well, so they each have their own IT teams of application specialists, and they work with my team to federate together and integrate with MiLogin. So user numbers here, 65,000 state employees and contractors currently use MiLogin to log in through pass-through authentication. So we federate with all sorts of Active Directories. 790,000 business partners, so these are people that are doing business with the state on behalf of an entity. So they are not acting as themselves, they're acting as representatives for let's say a business logging in to pay their state taxes, right? That's not the person signing in, that's the business signing in as representative. 790,000 of those. The big one we're talking about today with FIDO is our 13.3 million public users. So as of the 2020 census, Michigan has a residency of 10 million, and we are currently seeing 1.5 million unique logins per month coming into the state. Now, why would you only have, right, 1.5 million? Because people don't need to access state services every day. Usually it's once a year. So they come in shifts. And it does ebb and flow depending on the month. So here is a screenshot of MiLogin. So if you try milogin.michigan.gov, you come here. We have three business type or user types we deal with: employees, business users, and then public. Public is going to be the main focus of my talk today, but I want you to show you the login page and what it took to get to this point is what I'm going to talk about today. So we offer identity proofing, passkeys, and MFA with the public realm. And you can see on the bottom there is our login with password list, skipping the username and password altogether. So path to passkeys. Why did we choose it? How did we get there? So we saw FIDO as the answer to the global password problem. These are stats that I've been seeing the last 2 days. 80% is the stats for passwords being the problem. Users have passwords in over 90 systems. The $70 average is for the password reset. I've seen that number float $50, $70, $12 just to call the help desk. And I want to share with you at the government level, help desk numbers are everything to them. Whoever called the help desk, how many called, when they called, it's a metric they live and breathe by. So affecting that in a positive way, I'm going to show that as well. FIDO authentication provided the benefits we were looking for, so improving the user experience, and I'll get to that detail in a minute here. Improve security, obviously, and scalability. So we have to be able to, the government is doing more with less all the time, and I feel like scalability and automation is going to be the key to get us out of that. So, primary focus for FIDO, again, enhance digital user experience, reduce help desk dependencies, and fortify security resilience. Our primary focus in integrating FIDO with them was these elements, and I want to kind of break it down from a product manager perspective and a less technical one. So, success stories and inspiration. I've seen our GSA folks here at the conference. I've seen eBay here. Thank you guys for all your inspiration. We took a lot from your successes. Hopefully, Michigan can be the success story or the inspiration for other states and other agencies as well. And we'll keep that train going, and then they can come out and present their successes. So, as well as Canadian Digital Services, as well as United Kingdom's NHS. All right, implementation detail. What did it take? 3 to 5 members, 8 months, 400 grand. A lot of analysis. Our NIST partners were big helps in setting those standards. We added FIDO to the public realm, created user guides, animated videos, any kind of education we could think of at the time. And then monitoring production metrics was important. You don't ever implement something unless you can measure it. That was important. And then gathering feedback from end users. So I want to talk about the end users for a bit too. We initially began with a human-centered design, right? So get feedback from the users. What are their pain points? What are they trying to do? And the story goes like this, right? I'm a user, pick any one of these personas. I need to get to my digital service from the state. I don't want to start at my login. I want to pass through my login to get where I need to go. So my goal as digital identity is to be as least road bump or roadblock as possible, right? I am standing in the way between that person and the services that they need at the state. So how do we do that the best way? Well, passkeys. It was the obvious choice. It hits all of those factors we've heard about the last 2 days: speed, and ease of use. Security kind of baked in. Users tend to not really think about that. They want it fast and now, and I don't want to have to stand in the way of them and the service that they're trying to get. Government's already complicated enough. So our implementation of passkeys came in a bundling with our whole branding refresh. So this happened in June of 2023. We went from the image you see on the left to what it is today on the right. What problem we had on the left was legitimacy. So you as a persona started your journey to either type a search engine for what service you're looking for, maybe even just michigan.gov. You found the service you needed and then got redirected to that. Where am I? How did I get here? Is this legitimate? Is this really still a Michigan website? All these questions we were getting feedback for. So we teamed up with the same team, the eMichigan team, who developed michigan.gov and adopted their colors, their branding, their, well, essential legitimacy, right? All of the elements on the page were scrutinized, and I'm happy to see it had a positive response. So, as well as we added passwordless login on the bottom there. This is more of the branding we applied to that UI. So, I have to move over to the other screen, I'm sorry. Looks like you are eligible for passwordless login. So this was important because we knew what device they were coming in from and whether that was an eligible device or not based on the analysis we had done. How to word that the right way, we found that passkeys was lost to people. Passwordless, people responded better to that. So we adopted the passwordless verbiage. And then you can obviously learn more or continue to register. Now this pops up the first time you log in, but there's also a banner page that appears on the right if you haven't. We also had to add the ability in the UI to manage your devices that you had connected to your account. So from this screen, you can see the success message of adding a new device, as well as the ability to remove devices you've already added, as well as to see what other devices were connected to your account if something wasn't supposed to be connected. All right, project retrospectives, as good Scrum teams do. The big stats. Abandonment rates fell from 85% to 13%. That's a huge win. People stopped running away from the page they saw. We added that legitimacy that we needed. Hopefully we're going to be adding that convenience factor as well. Time to register decreased from 7 minutes and 29 seconds to 4 minutes, 53 seconds. That has remained consistent since branding refresh. We haven't seen that increase or decrease any bit. I'd like to get that a little bit shorter, but after, again, what I've heard last 2 days, prompting for FIDO authentication or prompting for passkeys at the time of register seems to be a really good solution. So I might be willing to add to that number in order to get passkeys adopted a little bit higher. This 30% here is a reduction in help desk calls from one agency. Just DHHS was able to give us data. We have 18 agencies. That number across all integrated applications with MiLogin, it must have saved well over the $400,000 we paid to implement it. Currently today, our registered devices, as the number of passkeys is 263 as of the 8th. I actually checked on this number today. It's 276,700 something. So since the 8th to today, we've added 13,500 additional passkeys. So the adoption rate continues to churn at that rate of 14 to 16,000 a month. It seems to be going well. It seems to be well understood. Our second usability study after the branding refresh, we noticed there is a correlation between passkey adoption and age of the user. Obviously, younger people are into it. They understand it. Also, 60% of our traffic comes from mobile users. So your device is already there in front of you. It made sense to add it. So our success metrics, we deployed June 24th, 2023. I think it's around 2 years now since we started work on it. And I see there's a lot of especially after visiting. There's definitely some things we can approach to improve that process. Happy to report we are the largest passwordless authentication implementation in state government, up to 13 million users, even though the number of adoption of registered users is climbing every day. 0 issues reported for passwordless enrollment and passwordless success. So it just seems to be working really well. The feedback from users is all positive. We probably need to measure different things now, again, after listening to what I've listened to the last 2 days. Bigger things here too is our account self-reactivations increased, so people have a self-service management for either reactivating or resetting their passwords. They don't need to do that anymore, or they can utilize that service instead. Help desk assisted password resets declined dramatically from that first month. And we feel like passkeys fit into the mantra we have at Michigan Cybersecurity of make it easier for users and harder for hackers. And recommendations. So I'm hopeful that my presentation today can serve as inspiration for additional states or additional government agencies to adopt this technology. The change that I would make now, looking back 2 years, is invest more in communication, education, and what it is, how to help. And I think account recovery is obviously a big thing. Finding that sweet spot of the user age of when it starts to fall off for adoption rate, how to engage with them better. Explain the benefits at the start, in the beginning. I think putting FIDO putting the passkey enrollment at the time of account creation is important. We'll probably need to add that. And keep users informed early and often. People don't like to be left in the dark, especially when it comes to government. However you want to communicate, you should do it 7 times, 7 different ways, any way you can think of possible. And then promote it through integration within the most common everyday workflows. So our largest traffic comes from Health and Human Services and unemployment agency. Hit those big user groups first. That'll increase massive adoption rates, and you can use that success to build on the edge cases. So that's all I have to present for today. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, so if anybody who's virtual has questions as well, you can submit them through the app. Any questions from anybody here? We got one.
Yeah. Hi, Nathan. Don Grappini from Carlton, Connecticut. So I'm always interested in the consumer experience. Right? I see things through that lens. So have you gathered any feedback from your users about how their experience has been? Like have you thought about pop-up surveys, just after the login experience, where you can ask like one question, rate this login experience, that sort of thing, and just because that might give you some ammunition that you can use in the marketing to your non-opted-in users. Just a thought. I want to see if you've considered that.
I have considered engaging users in the pop-ups or the surveys, but again, my mantra has been to be as little impactful in their flow as possible. That user is coming through to access a state service. They're not starting at MiLogin. Maybe the smart ones will, but passkeys allow me to limit my bump in the road and get that user where they want to go and reduce frustration. But we've done several usability studies that add to that story, and we continue to iterate on that.
Cool. Hi, I'm John Ronberg. I'm the product lead for sign-in at Google. Also a proud Michigan resident, born and raised. In rolling out passkeys, two-part question. The first, you mentioned how much it cost and how much time it took. How close was that to your original estimate of how long it would take? Was it more or less?
Right on the money.
Right on the money?
Yeah, it was right on the money.
That's very impressive. And looking back, are there pieces of information, assets, best practices, other things like that would have helped speed up your implementation that you wish you would have had?
We got some pushback from QR and implementing the QR flow. So the hybrid model didn't pass muster from our security architects. I would like to have seen that, but again, the fewer bumps on the road I can apply at that time, that was my goal.
Cool. Thank you.
One question online that came in: was it hard for you to convince the agency to spend the money to do this? And what did you have to do to get that approved?
It was not. We thought it was going to be hard. This branding refresh was bundled under a larger program of 27 projects, and this was one of them. I didn't realize that we were so liked at the state, so whatever we asked for, they ended up giving it to us. And so when we asked for 27 projects, expecting to do maybe 14, and they gave all 27 of them to us, we're like, oh, well, I guess we now need to spend that money and do that work. No, it wasn't. This was an easy value add, absolutely.
Hello, Allison Rosenberg from login.gov. Great to hear of all your work here. This is awesome. You mentioned that you noticed a correlation between users of passkeys and age, and I'm wondering if there's anything more you can share about any demographics of users that you've noticed using the passwordless flow, or what kind of services they're trying to access, if you have that information.
I don't have any raw data to give you. I can kind of riff on it. We have obviously we have a large list of online services for our residents, from retirement services all the way to health benefits to unemployment to everything, right? So as more applications or services become available through MiLogin, I'll be able to kind of get a better sense of that. But as far as adoption rates, that was very, very linear, right? The younger you were, the more likely you were to enroll. I don't know how to approach that next, either to accelerate that or to kind of focus on the other end of it and try to push that way the other way. Yeah, I don't know. It's really just a linear between age and adoption. I don't know how to decipher that yet.
Thanks.
Say on that point, I texted my parents back in West Bloomfield that we had you out here and you can log in without a password. My mom said, "Is that good? Is that okay?" I said, "Yes, Mom, that's actually
And
better."
that was another reason we went with passwordless instead of passkeys.
Yeah.
Right? Skip the password.
Thanks. Great talk. This was very interesting. Grant Dasher from CISA. So my question I was going to ask you was, what does it feel like to be the first state? And how did you sort of convince people to do something that is usually hard to do, which is to be the first mover in a community, and any lessons learned for others, in the second state or cities or things like that. But then you piqued my interest with your question about the hybrid flow. So were you able to overcome that and that problem with your security architects? Is there anything that we can do to convince them that it's actually okay?
How does it feel? It feels great. We've always tried to push internally to try new things and I don't want to say disruptor, but I don't want to be the same old government entity that everybody thinks, right? I'm fairly new to government. I've only been in government for 3 years. I have experience in healthcare implementations, so service was important, right? And customer experience was important, and I feel we can push that, right? We can definitely push that element of service. My security architects live and breathe by the data that they consume, and me as a product manager, I trust them implicitly with their recommendations, but we are beholden to policy and standards at the state as well. So moving those might move the architects, might move the standards.
Is there a specific policy that they thought it was in conflict with? Sorry for pressing, I'm just curious.
I don't recall right now, yeah.
Okay,
Again,
thanks.
2 years ago, I'll probably pull some data for you and be in touch.
All right. Any other questions? All right. If not, Nathan, thanks for coming out to talk to us. This was awesome. One of the best case studies I think we've had that I've seen. And we'll be back at 5 o'clock with the last panel on America Heart FIDO. Thanks.